Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's now 5 o'clock, and we'll begin our Committee of Adjustment meeting for the month of May. Everyone's information, we will generally deal with each application according to the order of the agenda. Extra copies are available in the back table there. Anyone present who wishes to speak in support or against an application, as well as anyone with questions or concerns, will have an opportunity to speak. The committee will make their decision following each application. If there's anyone present who is not an applicant or agent but is interested in the decision of the committee, you may file your interest with our Secretary-Treasurer. Please list the file number, your full name, and mailing address. Copies of the decisions are automatically sent to the applicant and agent within 15 days of the meeting. Only the applicant, the minister, a specified person, or any public body may appeal decisions in respect to applications for consent or minor variances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. The decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision. May I remind you, everyone, that we are being recorded. To mute your devices, as well as if you wish to speak to an application, make your way to the podium, ensure the mic is on, and state your name, first and last name, for the public record. You will have 5 minutes to speak. The first order of business is to determine if any members of the committee have any disclosures of interest when considering any of the applications we will be dealing with today. Are there any disclosures? Seeing none. Have all the members received the minutes of the previous meeting? And I will just point out to you that item 4.4 of last month's meeting, the minutes reflected that the decision was defeated when it should have been stated as refused instead. So we've made a change to the minutes that way. It's just kind of a housekeeping error. If anybody has any adoption of the minutes, can I get a mover and a seconder? Phil? And a seconder? Linda, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. Okay. Our first application to be considered is file number ANPL 2025010 for Teresa Livingston, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received seeking relief of 4% in lot coverage to allow a lot coverage of 32%, 1.04 meters in front yard setback to allow a front yard setback of 0.0 meters, 0.95 meters in interior side yard setback to allow a side yard setback of 0.25 meters, and relief from section 3.10B to permit an even eaves trough projection to the property line in the RR zone. The subject lands are located on the east side of Ordnance Avenue, south of its intersection with Cedar Drive. The property is approximately 616.7 square meters, with approximately 30 meters of frontage on Ordnance Avenue. The subject lands are occupied by an existing cottage. The subject application seeks to facilitate the construction of an attached garage. This application was heard previously at the April committee meeting. The subject lands are designated and zoned as resort residential. The proposed garage is consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024 and the Norfolk County Official Plan. The subject application seeks to construct a garage that would require relief of total lot coverage, front yard setback, and interior side yard setback, as well as relief from section 3.10B to permit an eaves and eaves trough projection to the property line. A previous minor variance, AMPL 2022-295, granted relief for lot coverage and front yard setback, providing a total permitted lot coverage of 28% and a front yard setback of 1.04 meters. The subject application seeks to relieve these provisions further to permit a total lot coverage of 32% and a lot front yard setback of 0.0 meters, as well as to reduce the interior side yard from 1.2 meters to permitted for an attached garage to 0.25 meters. However, the reliefs requested for the lot coverage and front yard setback are not sufficient to accomplish this. The previous minor variance applied to the situation at the time, but does not alter the existing provisions on the lot. Therefore, the requested relief of 4% in lot coverage and 1.04 meters in front yard setback are not correct based on the necessary reliefs needed for the proposed construction. Only a special provision added to the land through a zoning bylaw amendment has the power to permanently alter the zoning requirements for a site. A minor variance looks at a single situation, and if the situation has changed, the starting point will continue to be the extant zoning bylaws, not the previous minor variances, although these would remain material considerations. The 0.95 meter relief in interior side yard setback and relief of section 3.10B to permit an even eavesdrop projection to the property line are correct and would be considered minor in nature considering the existing structures on the lot. Additionally, the zoning administrator has noted concerns regarding parking on the lot, noting that 2 unobstructed parking spaces conforming to the required dimensions in section 4.1.3 of the zoning bylaw with direct and legal access from the street are required. The proposed garage would block the existing legal access to the property without providing these 2 parking spaces. The internal dimensions of the garage are also below the standard required in section 4.1.3 and would therefore not count as a parking space in terms of building permits. In conclusion, the proposed variances are not sufficient to meet the needs of the proposed construction and therefore necessitate corrections. Staff do not support this application at the time and recommend deferral to allow the applicant to correct their request. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there an agent or applicant? Okay, Dave, just a second. Is there any questions of the committee to the planner? Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. I think we're all trying to get to the same place from both ends. There's just a difference in how we get there. So could I ask the planner, do you have the numbers on the way that you think it should be calculated for the deficiencies?
Yep, through the chair. So for the front yard setback, they would require a reduction of 6.0 meters to permit a front yard setback of the 0 meters that they need. And then for lot coverage, they would need to request a relief of 17% in lot coverage to permit a lot coverage of 32%.
Okay, I'll try to remember those, or I might have to ask you later. So.
That's fine.
Peter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If we go to the picture on page 21, the aerial shot, would it be correct to say that all of the parcels to the east, including the immediately contiguous parcel, would have coverage ratios in excess of 30%?
Through the chair, I'm not quite sure what the question is. Like, are you just asking whether or not they also have relief or lot coverage of over 30%?
Yes, I mean, there are a lot of buildings on these, so it strikes me that having coverage ratios over 30% would be the norm and not the exception.
I can't speak directly to that because I don't know exactly what those numbers would be. We're speaking about a specific situation right at this moment and the relief that they have requested.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Dave.
Okay, am I on now? Okay, my name's Steve McPherson. I'm the agent representing Mrs. Livingston that owns the subject property. You're well aware I've made this presentation a number of times. You know the ins and outs of it. And you know that I don't agree with the way the planning department has made their calculations. However, I'm tired of arguing and fighting with them, and I just want to get this resolved. Let's do the easy one first. One of the objections to this is over the parking issue. So I have made an application to the County Roads and Operations Department and have been approved for a modified entrance to, if you look at the, Sherry, if you could put the site plan back up, you can see down at the bottom that asphalt driveway that exits off of Ordnance Ave ever so slightly crosses the beach, which is owned by MNR, and then accesses onto the Livingston property. So I have obtained a permit from the roads department to modify that entrance and move it over onto Ordnance Ave. And here's an example of it. This is what was approved by roads. So the entrance now will come off of Ordnance, and then 2 parking spaces have been identified, which would be kind of in the bottom left corner, the lake side. The 2 spaces meet the parking bylaw requirements. One is 3 meters by 6 meters. The other one is 3.5 meters by 6 meters. So that more than satisfies the county requirements. This was all sent to the county on Thursday of last week. Because this report just came out on Thursday of last week, so that's the first I became aware of it, so I scrambled quite quickly and got both the entrance permit and the parking spaces identified. As far as lot coverage is concerned, this committee has already approved us for 28%, but by attaching the garage that you see at the top of the site plan, that was formerly a detached garage. We're attaching it to the cottage, so now it has to be included with the cottage lot coverage. That bumps us up by 4% to 32%. I'm tired of arguing with planning that I've already been approved for 28 and just ask for 4 more. I don't care if tonight I have to start at 0 and go direct to 32%. That's what we need to do this project. The other thing is that garage, when it existed previously as a detached garage projected over the front property line onto the road allowance, we were denied our application to the county to purchase a sliver of road allowance. So, excuse me. So what I'm asking for tonight is to rebuild that garage right up to the property line. So I'm asking for 0 front yard setback. And however they want to calculate that, I'm good with it. If they don't want to accept my calculations, let's just go straight from this required 6 meters to 0. Now that garage, the foundation's already there for it, and it's in the exact same spot as it previously was. It was pinned by the surveyors to be in the same spot, so on the east side, the side yard setback is 0.25 meters, so that's what I'm asking for relief of. Planning has agreed with that calculation. The other thing is with the wall of the garage there's obviously an eave and then an eaves trough. So I'm asking for relief from the section of the zoning bylaw that deals strictly with eaves and eaves troughs, and asking for relief so that we can put an eave trough on this building up to the lot line but not cross it. Just as a matter of interest, today I received a certificate of occupancy for the cottage. So the cottage is complete now. with an occupancy permit. The only thing we need now is the garage attached to it. Also of interest, I did receive an email on the 5th of May from the planner confirming my calculations. And she reiterated all of my calculations, asked me if there were any errors, and to advise her prior to April the 7th, but this was sent May the 5th, so that made it difficult, but I responded that yes, you have it correct. So between May the 5th and Thursday of last week, I thought everything was tickety-boo, and then found out that there's a discrepancy on how this is applied. In any event, you know exactly what we're after. I'm asking for approval of that, and I'm here to answer any questions the committee may have of me.
Thanks, Dave. Questions? No? Oh, Linda, go ahead.
I just noticed in the building comments that they're asking for a change notice. Can you tell me what that's all about? It's item number 2 on page.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Current building. That notice of change is strictly to recognize that the current plans they have on file don't show that attached garage. So back a few steps here, like keep in mind, this is minor variance number 3 that I've done on this property. So initially, there was a detached garage there that collapsed at the time excavation was made for the footings for the cottage. In order to get a building permit for the cottage, now that garage is no longer there, so I had to revise the plans by deleting the garage. So now I'm trying to get permission to build the garage, but I can't apply for a building permit for the garage until this committee approves my application tonight. At that time, I'll submit revised plans and a change order notice. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Questions? Peter?
Just for the point of clarity, I'm losing a bit because this is plan view and not 3D. But on the northwest corner, it's going to be a point of tangent 8 feet above the ground. And the actual foundation that was there before, would be a noted improvement over what was there. The actual foundation would be cut back in 2 feet.
On one corner and just a few inches on the other corner. So the front face of the garage will be skewed on an angle to match the property line. The Ordnance Ave runs skewed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Questions? Okay, we'll move on. Thanks, David. Is there anyone present, excuse me, or online that wishes to speak to this application? And it looks like there's not, so I will put it to the committee. Councillor Van Passen.
This is where I have to remember the numbers, Mr. Chairman, but I'm quite happy to put forth a motion that application ANPL 2025-010 for relief of 17% in lot coverage to allow the lot coverage of 32%, 6 meters in front yard setback to allow a front yard setback of 0 meters, 0.95 meters interior side yard setback to allow a side yard setback of 0.25 meters, and relief from section 3.10B to permit the eave and eavesdrop projection to the property line in the RR zone be approved, conditional on a letter from EIS, is it, or the roads department, that you have obtained an access?
I can,
Yeah, just send it off to Sherry, and that'll keep her happy, because we
Okay.
can't approve that, something that creates that problem, so.
there it is right there.
Yeah, I believe you got it, but we'll put it into motion so that we can't get in trouble, so.
Counselor, I just ask that you give our secretary treasurer all those facts and figures and numbers that you just recited, because she couldn't keep up.
I'm reading it off of here, except I'm inserting instead of 4%, the
But we
17%,
see where you're going with it.
and the 6 meters instead of the 1.04, so.
So you're making a motion to approve?
Yes.
Okay. We'll let them figure that out in the meantime, and I get a seconder to that motion. Linda, thank you. Okay, so file number ANPL 202505, is there anybody else have any debate, questions, anything else? No? Okay, I'll just put it to call a question. ANPL 2025-010, in the name of Teresa Livingston, that the application for a minor variant does meet the 4 tests of a minor variance of the Planning Act, and that no public input was received, and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. Excuse me, all in favor? And that's carried unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, which one are we using now? Ooh, look at that. That's impressive. Okay, Joe. Thanks. Okay. Next up, file number BNPL 2025-015, Joe Kazicki, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a parcel of land having a frontage of 19.2 meters along Duncombe Road and a lot area of 657.8 square meters, and retain a parcel with a lot area of 1,067.6 square meters and a lot frontage of 23.3 meters along the same road in the urban residential type 1 zone. The subject property is within the urban area of Waterford, designated as urban residential and zoned urban residential type 1. The subject lands include an existing residential dwelling with an existing driveway access and an existing metal shed. The subject lands are serviced with municipal water and sanitary servicing systems. Planning staff note that residential intensification in the form of infill residential development is permitted in the urban settlement area, and that is the intent of the severance. The size of both the retained and severed lots meets the requirements of the zoning bylaw. Service and connections of the severed lands will be required at the building permit stage. An entrance permit and installation of entrance will be required for the severed parcel at the time of building permit application. The application is consistent with the provincial planning statement, conforms to the county's official plan, and complies with the zoning bylaw. Staff notes that the applicant amended on the day of May 20th the application. The application to change, the amendment consists of a change of the severance delineation of 1.5 meters south. The new proposed severed lot is 594 square meters and with a frontage of 17.7 meters. The retained lot is 1,130 square meters with a frontage of 15 meters. Both lots, as amended, comply with the minimum lot requirements of the zoning bylaw. A comment was received today from a neighboring property owner and provided to committee members. In summary, the comment outlines that the amount of space to be severed is extremely small for another building, and they believe that it is important that the impact of the severance will impact their property value and the immediate surrounding area. So planning comments is that the official plan policies do permit the severance, as well as the zoning bylaw requirements. Therefore, planning staff recommend approval of the application with the conditions that currently presented in the planning report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Peter?
My question is with respect to condition 3, the spatial separation calculation, OBC 9.1, 10.14, OBC 9.10.15. Seems to me that whole condition isn't a condition, it's a comment. And I actually have brought the spatial separation with me, but unless you have a building there, and there is a lot of wiggle room for engineers to come up with spatial separation fire criteria, that it's just something that the applicant needs to know. And when a building permit or a building is proposed for the severed lot, that it would have to be in general conformity with the fire regulations under the OBC. So that's my thought, Mr. Chair. I think it should be a comment and not a condition.
Okay, thank you. Planning staff?
Thank you, through the chair. So condition number 3 was provided as a condition by the building department. It is there to assess any hazard that might come up from the existing building, and given the proximity of the severance delineation. So that condition is intended to be as a condition. The applicant is required to provide this spatial separation calculation and get clearance from the building permit that there is no hazard from the
Okay.
existing dwelling.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? Councillor Van Passen?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sort of made the same note, and then I look at condition number 5. Like, I don't think we need condition number 3 in there because 5 already covers that. And I also wonder how they're going to calculate spatial separation when nothing exists, and I think Mr. Hellier's brought that point up already. But again, I think, well, we haven't dealt with this yet, but like there's no need for condition number 3 whatsoever. Cover 5 would cover it off anyhow.
Okay, well,
But we might gotta
we
get
can
there later.
address that when we come to the decision. Okay, anybody else, questions, planning staff?
Yes, thank you, through the chair. So I reached out to the building comment earlier today just to get further clarification on that condition.
So can you just speak up a little bit more?
Yes, so I reached out to the building department just to get further clarification of what is the intent of the separation distance. So I'm gonna just quote the explanation. In simple words, notes, this is what the building officer states. This section of the code is used to determine the likelihood of a structure catching fire or passing fire through the construction of the walls or openings for windows and doors. There is mathematical equations that the designer needs to provide to show that the openings and construction of the building is in compliance with the section of the code. The last point is that the average person would most likely not be able to determine this information on their own. This would need to be done by a qualified and registered individual if the owner is not able to complete this task.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Peter?
Well, not that I want to beat it to death, but there is a lot of room for engineers, if they have a building proposal, to calculate out what different types of cladding or fire protection would be. There's 7 pages under those 2 sections, and I still don't believe it's a condition. I believe it's a comment, so.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else? Anything? Is there a applicant agent? Dave, anything to add?
Good
The
evening
mic is
again.
still on.
I left it on because I knew I was coming back. Again, my name's Dave McPherson, and I'm the agent for the applicant on this. Let's deal with spatial separation. That seems to be the bugbear here. This only came to light even though I submitted this application January the 17th of this year. This whole spatial separation notion only came to me Thursday of last week. So, like, we're talking 5 months after the fact. Anyways, I scrambled around and amended my application because I went straight to the site, made all the necessary measurements, followed through with all the calculations. The building department's concern with spatial separation is from the existing house to the new imaginary lot line. So I can't see really what is on the screen right now, but the survey has been amended by adding an additional 1.5 meters to the 1.2 meter setback that I had from the side of the house to the new lot line. So I've added another 1.5 meters to that and have satisfied, I've done all the calculations necessary to satisfy the spatial separation criteria. So all I did was jump the gun on this, get on top of it to deal with conditions 3, 4, and 5. And I'm not asking you to delete those. They can stay right there where they are because I have to formalize my report and submit it to the building department. But I just amended my application to get ahead of the curve on this.
Okay.
So the original application was recommended for approval. I have worked with the planner quite quickly on this and with the surveyors, and she's recommending approval again, and I'm asking you just to approve our amended application, and I've given Sherry the figures to put on your approval page.
Okay.
And I'm here to answer any further questions that may arise.
Thanks, Dave. Any questions of Mr. McPherson? No? Is there anyone present online or in the house that wishes to speak to this application? Being none, I will put it to the committee. Phil? Thank you. And a seconder? Linda? So file number BNPL 2025015 in the name of John Konzicki. This application is consistent with the provincial policy statement 2024 and does comply with the policies of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding consent to sever policies in the agricultural designation. I think that's a typo, is it, Sherry?
It has to be, it's zoned R1A,
Oh, is it?
yes.
Yeah. What's that?
Urban residential type 1, it should say.
No, it says agricultural. Anyway, and that no public, and the public input was received and therefore has been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dave. No, just. Is that right?
No.
No. Scratch it out? Okay.
Urban residential.
Hmm?
Urban residential area.
Okay. Moving on. File number ANPL 2025033, J&J Atkinson Farms, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to seek relief of 3.48 hectares in lot area to allow for an undersized agricultural lot of 36.5 hectares in the agricultural zone as a condition of provisional consent application BNPL 2024-348 to create a new residential lot within the hamlet boundary area. The agricultural lot referred to as a retained lot, is zoned agricultural and hamlet residential with approximately 36.52 hectares of land area and a frontage of approximately 31.9 meters along Albert Street. The retained lot does not meet the minimum required lot area of 40 hectares under section 20.1.2A of the zoning bylaw. It is planning staff opinion that the proposed minor variance conforms to the official plan policies and complies with all other requirements of the zoning bylaw. The severance application BNPL 2024-348 does not reduce or hinder the existing agricultural activities on the retained lands. The same goes for the minor variance. As such, the minor variance is appropriate for the development of the subject property and surrounding lands. In accordance with Section 45 of the Planning Act, sufficient information has been provided to determine the requested relief to be appropriate and minor in nature. Therefore, staff recommend the approval of minor variance application ANPL 2025-033.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there an agent or applicant present? Dave Rowe. Is this your last application, Dave?
This is my
This is
farewell
it?
tour.
This is your farewell?
Yes.
You're like the Who, they just keep on going on tour.
Well, yes, I have more farewell tours than most rock bands.
Very good.
But I have reviewed staff's report, in full agreement. I'm a happy camper. Wish everybody well, and have really no issues today. So
Good, thank you.
Thank
Enjoy
you
your
very much.
retirement, Dave.
thank you again.
Okay. Is there any questions of Dave? No? Okay. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application, online or in the house? No? Okay. And to the committee? Lisa. Seconded by Joe. File number AMPL 2025-033, J&J Atkinson Farms. The application for a minor variance meets the four tests of a minor variance under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All those in favor? And that's carried. File number BNPL 2025-037, Long's Lumber Limited, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 124.97 meters, a depth of 201.17 meters irregular, a width of 201.17 meters irregular, and a lot area of 3.51 hectares in the MRHL zone, and to retain a parcel having a total lot area of 0.58 hectares. As shown, the subject lands are located on the north side of 12th Concession Road, west of its intersection with West Quarter Line Road. The area of the subject lands is approximately 4.09 hectares with approximately 228 meters of frontage on 12th Concession Road. The subject lands are occupied by a dwelling, several accessory structures, a lumber and hardware store, and a barn. The proposal seeks to sever the lumber and hardware store, the barn, and several accessory structures, and to retain the dwelling and remaining accessory structures. I will note that this is a correction from the report that stated the opposite, that the dwelling was to be severed with the lumber yard and hardware store to be retained. That is incorrect. It is the other way around. The subject property is designated agricultural and hazard land and is zoned rural industrial, which is MR, and hazard land. The application is consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024. The official plan also permits the severance of agricultural designated lands for agricultural-related commercial and industrial uses, and is therefore consistent with the policies of the official plan. Both the dwelling and lumberyard are permitted uses and therefore comply with the zoning bylaw. Planning Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. In addition, I will note that condition 2 has been struck. That is the condition regarding the need for a minor variance. And the option for a spatial separation agreement has also been added to conditions 4 and 5 as well from the building department. Thank you. No, the addition of the option for a spatial separation agreement. Yes, that's correct.
2 was struck, okay.
That's correct.
Thank you. Okay. Is any questions of the committee? Councillor Van Passen.
Well, the same question that came up before. Why do we need condition number 4 and number 5 when we have condition number 7 says receipt of a letter from the building department indicating that the requirements for spatial separation compliance have been completed to the satisfaction of the building department? 4 and 5, again, it's a comment on how to go about doing it, but I don't think it needs to be a condition of the application here. As long as they have the letter that the building department's happy, that should be enough. So why are we adding more and more complicated conditions when they have nothing to do with the actual planning process? They have everything to do with the building process.
Through the chair, those conditions were provided to me by the building department. I included them at their request and did discuss them with Fritz Enslin, the supervisor for building. If you deem them unnecessary, then if condition 7 is appropriate, then that's acceptable as well.
Okay.
Okay. We'll deal with that later.
All right. Linda?
Just want to comment that I agree with Councillor Van Passen, and as long as those comments are included in the body of the report, then the applicant can read the report and be aware of some of their suggestions on how to be compliant, but they're not really needed. And anyway, so I'm going to recommend that we remove condition 4 and 5.
When we get to it.
When we get there.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Peter?
I think that the general thinking that a building department compliance with spatial separation does cover it all. That said, this is a very flammable business on a separated parcel, and the fire issue is a biggie. So I think that condition does cover it, but I'm loath to put in all sorts of things of additional conditions when there's umpteen pages of spatial separation possibilities. So my comment, Mr. Chair, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Councillor Van Passen?
Well, this is a different one. This is on number 3.
Okay. That is...
You go through the whole thing about sewage. We don't need that as a condition. We only need 3C that says receipt of a letter from the building department indicating that the requirement for on-site sewer disposal system is in compliance to the satisfaction of the building department. We don't have to have a condition on how to go about doing that. We just need the letter for planning purposes that says it's been done. Right. So again, I think we can delete everything except for 3C and get rid of the whole other section.
Okay. And our secretary treasurer is making notes when we get to it. One last time. Anybody else? Is there an agent or applicant present to speak to this application? Online?
Yes. Good.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Good evening, committee and staff. My name is Kayla DeLay. I am a registered professional planner, and I am the agent on behalf of my client, Barry Long. We have submitted an agricultural-related commercial consent. The proposal and the associated planning justification report, which was attached, demonstrates that this proposal is consistent to sever an agricultural-related business, and it represents good planning. The justification report outlines how the proposal is consistent with the provincial policy statement, conforms to the Norfolk County official plan, and is in keeping with the regulations of the zoning bylaw. At the time that my client and I reached out to submit the application to the county, we were advised that the septic system evaluation was not required as part of a complete application. And so we kindly ask that the committee would consider the removal of condition 3. I'm happy that the planner has removed condition number 2 and noted that. And as well, what we've done is we've worked with staff to add the spatial separation agreement into condition 4 and 5, which I do agree with committee could be simply covered by using condition number 7. So we would support the committee's comments about removing condition 4 and 5. We feel that the spatial separation agreement is a much better way to address those buildings and the fire separation by having that agreement registered on title. And that's it for me this evening, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the applicant, agent? Councillor Van Passen.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I made the comment that I only think we need 3C, that a letter about the septic. Is that acceptable to you? You've already discussed it with staff, I understand?
Well, sorry, we would be looking to have the entire septic evaluation requirement removed, so all of condition 3, and that's just because we had reached out before submitting the application, and previous staff had mentioned that it was not going to be a requirement. So my client was under the assumption that we wouldn't be doing the septic evaluation.
But if you've already done all that, getting a letter saying that shouldn't be any problem, so we can just leave it as only needing a letter?
Just a letter, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave that to the committee.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else, questions? No? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present online or in the house that wishes to speak to this application? Seeing none, I'll put it to the committee. Linda.
Okay, I'll move to approve with the removal of 3A and B as conditions and the removal of condition 4 and 5.
Sorry, 3A and B and,
4 and 5.
okay. Seconder? Adam, thank you.
Can I just ask one question on that?
Certainly.
We don't need to reiterate taking out condition 2 when planning has already done that?
That's correct. They've
Okay.
already removed it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. File number BNPL 2025037 in the name of Longs Lumber Limited. This application is consistent with the PPS 2024, does comply with the policies of Norfolk County Official Plan regarding consent to sever policies in the ag designation. Okay, this one's correct. And that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. And that, again, is as amended to remove 3A, B, 4, and 5. So everyone's clear. All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, next up is ANPL 2025111 in the name of Bruce Barnum, and the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to permit relief to construct a structure in the hazard land zone. The subject lands are located on the north side of Boathouse Lane, with the site being found at the intersection of Boathouse Lane and First Avenue. The property is approximately 0.84 hectares, and the subject lands are occupied by multiple boathouses. The proposed development would replace several formerly existing boathouses and expand. The subject lands are designated and zoned as hazard lands. The proposed development is intended to replace and expand previously existing boathouses. It is located within close proximity to water and cannot be located outside of the flooding hazard due to the nature of the proposed use. The proposal conforms to the Provincial Planning Statement 2024 and to the official plan. The development seeks to construct and expand a boathouse to replace several previously existing ones. The development on the lot is contrary to the provisions of the hazard land zone. However, in this case, it is in keeping with the existing legally non-conforming use on the property. Therefore, the requested relief can be considered minor in nature and maintaining the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The proposed application meets the 4 tests of a minor variance. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there an applicant agent present? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, committee members. My name is Brad Deming. I'm the agent for the the applicant, Bruce Barnum. I'm just here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the agent? No? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application in the House or online? No? Well, what are the committee's wishes? Lisa. Lisa moves to approve. Seconder? Joe? File number ANPL 2025-111 in the name of Bruce Barnum. The application for a minor variance meets the 4 tests of the minor variance under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All those in favor? That's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is file number BNPL 2025-028 in the name of Jim, and I'm not even going to attempt that one. Sorry? Okay, thank you. Planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to establish an easement having a frontage of 5.803 meters, a depth of 676.604 meters, a width of 6.096 meters, and an area of 4,109.390 square meters. The subject lands are located on the south side of Windham Road 3, east of its intersection with Kelvin Road. The area of the subject lands is approximately 21.6 hectares, with approximately 316.6 meters of frontage on Windham Road 3. The subject lands are occupied by an agricultural building. The proposal seeks to establish an easement for an existing gas line servicing 1191 Windham Road 3. The lands are designated and zoned agricultural and hazard lands. This application does relate to BNPL 2025-029 and BNPL 2025-030 as well. The subject application seeks to create an easement for the existing gas line servicing 1191 Windham Road 3. The proposed easement is consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024. The proposed easement would be solely located within the lands designated as agricultural. This is consistent with the lot adjustment policies in the agricultural designation of the official plan. The subject lands are currently farmed, which is a permitted use in the agricultural zone, and the proposed easement will not alter this use. Planning staff considered the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And we can consider all 3 of these at the same time, right? Because they're all related?
Through the chair, I don't believe we can because they are separate parcels.
Okay.
So
All right, so we'll do...
I wanted to, but
Okay. Just trying to streamline things. Okay, any questions of the planner for this first file? No? Is there an applicant or agent which is present? Yeah. Button on the right. There you go.
Lydia Harrison, and I'm assisting Mr. Demillionaire, and we're just here for any questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Is there anyone present or in the House that wishes to speak to this application? The wishes of the committee are? Phil? Phil moves to approve. Seconded by Linda. That file number BNPL 2025028. This proposal meets the requirements of the consent to sever policies in the R2 zone, complies with the official plan, and maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore is not considered as part of this application. All in
Sorry,
favor?
through the chair, that should be not R2, that should be A.
Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Okay, so we can,
So the other one too?
yep, okay, well, I'll adjust them. Okay, so next up is a BNPL 2025-029, and the planner can give the report.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to establish an easement having a frontage of 10.829 meters and a regular depth, a width of 6.100 meters, and an area of 714.165 square meters. The subject lands are located on the north side of Butler's Lane, north of its intersection with Norfolk County Road 19 West. The area of the subject lands is approximately 1.7 hectares with about 179 meters of frontage on Butler's Lane. The subject lands are occupied by a dwelling and several accessory structures. The proposal seeks to establish an easement for the existing gas line servicing 1191 Wyndham Road 3. The subject lands are designated and zoned agricultural, and the application relates to BNPL 2025-028 and BNPL 2025-030. As mentioned, it seeks to create an easement for an existing private gas line. The proposed easement is consistent with the policies of the PPS and the lot adjustment policies for the agricultural designation of the official plan. The subject lands are currently occupied by a single detached dwelling, which is a permitted use within the agricultural zone, and the proposed easement will not alter the use. Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the Provincial Planning Statement 2024, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Agent or applicant still here? Anything to add? Just for questions? Okay. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application? In the House or online? Seeing none, the wishes of the committee are Lisa moves to approve, I assume? Seconded by Peter, thank you. File number BNPL 2025-029. The proposal meets the requirements of the consent to sever policies in the ag zone, complies with the official plan, maintains the general intent of the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. And finally, BNPL 2025-030. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to establish an easement with a frontage of 6.110 meters, a depth of 73.508 meters, a width of 6.096 meters, and an area of 481.240 square meters. The subject lands are located on the north side of Wyndham Road 3, east of its intersection with Kelvin Road. The area of the subject lands is approximately 39.9 hectares with approximately 586.4 meters of frontage on Wyndham Road 3. The subject lands are occupied by a single detached dwelling and several agricultural buildings. The proposal seeks to establish an easement for an existing gas line servicing 1191 Wyndham Road 3. The subject lands are designated and zoned agricultural, hazard lands, and provincially significant wetland. The application, as I mentioned, relates to BNPL 2025-028 and BNPL 2025-029. The subject application seeks to create the easement, and the proposed easement is consistent with the policies of the PPS and the lot adjustment policies for the agricultural designation of the official plan. The subject lands are currently farmed, which is a permitted use in the agricultural zone, and the proposed easement will not alter this use. Planning staff consider the subject application to be consistent with the policies of the PPS, the official plan, and the zoning bylaw. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? The applicant, the agent's still here to answer questions if need be. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application in the House or online? No, and the wishes of the committee are? Phil? Moves to approve. Okay. Seconded? Linda? Linda's making up for lost time. File number BNPL 2025030. The proposal meets the requirements of the consent to sever in the ag zone, complies with the official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. File number BNPL 2025035, Peter and Maria Horvath. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a parcel having a frontage of 100.4 meters along Windham Road 13 and a lot area of 1.8 hectares in the Hamlet residential zone, and retain a parcel with a lot area of 6.9 hectares and a frontage of approximately 69.8 meters along Nixon Road. The retained lot is zoned Hamlet residential and agricultural zones. The subject property is subject to an approved zoning bylaw applications at NBL 2024-331 to rezone the proposed severed lands from agricultural to Hamlet residential and allow for an undersized retained agricultural lot. The subject property is also subject to an approved draft plan of subdivision application 28 TPL 2024-288 for the development of a draft plan of subdivision of 6 detached residential lots on the proposed severed lands. The proposed severance aligns with the settlement area delineation and allows for the intensification of residential use within the Hamlet area. Private water servicing systems will be provided for each residential lot through individual wells and individual septic systems as specified in the functional servicing report submitted with the approved applications, zoning bylaw application and draft plan of subdivision applications. Staff identified that a hydrogeological study is required to confirm that the lots can be appropriately serviced by private water and sanitary systems, which is addressed as condition of the draft plan of subdivision approval. The recommendations of the environmental impact study submitted with the applications provides recommendations to be followed up to mitigate any environmental impacts on the natural heritage feature, which are addressed as conditions of the draft plan of subdivision. A traffic impact study prepared and reviewed as part of the approved applications indicates that the driveway location do not affect the municipal right-of-way and provide adequate access to the residential lots. An updated traffic impact study was required and addressed as a condition of the draft approved plan of subdivision application. To summarize, the minimum required services are addressed as conditions of the draft approved plan of subdivision application. Therefore, planning staff recommend the approval of the severance application with the conditions listed in the report.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the planner? Is there an agent or applicant present?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bob Phillips from J.H. Cahoon Engineering Limited, representing the Horvath family. The application, as the planner did a nice job in outlining, is subject to an approved rezoning application and draft plan conditions. but this severs, I'm going to call them the development lands away from the homestead. And we've read the planning staff report and are supportive of all the conditions. And I'm really just here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there anyone present in the House or online that wishes to speak to this application? No? And the committee wishes are? Not everybody jump up at once. Lisa, you're the winner. You're moving to approve. Okay, thank you. Seconded by Phil. File number BNPL 2025035, Peter and Maria Horvath. The application is consistent with the PPS 2024 and does comply with the policies of the Norfolk County Official Plan regarding consent to sever policies in the ag designation? No? Yes. Yes, okay. And that no public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of the application. All those in favor? And that's carried.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. ANPL 2024178, Abraham Gunther. The planner can give the report, please.
Thank you Thank you very much. Through the chair, an application has been received to seek relief of 151 square meters from the total usable floor area of detached accessory building. 100 square meters is permitted. This would allow a total usable floor area of 251 square meters. The applicant is also seeking relief of 0.6 meters for the height of a detached accessory building. 6 meters is the permitted height. The relief would result in the total building height of 6.6 meters and in the Hamlet residential HR zone. The site is mostly flat. It contains a dwelling as well as numerous outbuildings. The surrounding uses are agricultural and residential. Excuse me. The site is mostly flat. It contains a dwelling as well as numerous outbuildings. The surrounding uses are agricultural and residential. The property has a frontage of 49.78 meters, a depth of 64.01 meters, and an area of 5,175.3 meters square. Due to the size of the subject property, the lot and uses of the surrounding lands, the variance would be considered minor in nature. The variance meets the 4 tests of the Planning Act, and therefore planning staff recommends approval of the application for the variance. I will now answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there an applicant or agent present? No? Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application? No? The wishes of the committee are? Joe. Move to approve. And a seconder? Adam. File number ANPL 2024178 in the name of Abraham Gunther. The application for a minor variance meets the 4 tests of the minor variance under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act, and no public input was received. Therefore, has not been considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. Okay, moving right along. BNPL 2025024 in the name of 2628469 Ontario, Inc. Oh.
This, on the decision, it says 150 square meters from the usable.
Can you turn the mic on?
Sorry. On the decision here, it says the application has been received to seek relief of 150 square meters, but the report said 151.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure we correct that.
Yes, we will. Does that make a
It makes a difference.
difference to the committee on the vote? No? Okay. So, the planner can give the report to 024.
Thank you very much. Through the chair, an application has been received to sever a residential building lot with a frontage of 17 meters, a depth of 25.6 meters, and an area of 435.2 meters square. The retained parcel will have a frontage of 11.65 meters, a depth of 25.92 meters, and an area of 301.97 meters squared. And this is concurrent with ANPL 2025025. The proposal meets the requirements for the consent to sever policies in the R2 zone, complies with the official plan, and maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw. Planning staff recommends approval of the severance application. An application has been submitted to seek relief of 1.486 meters for minimum lot area in the R1B zone of 301.48 meters square, where 450 meters square is the minimum required. To seek relief of 3.35 meters for minimum frontage in the R1 zone of 11.65 meters, where 15 is required. To seek relief of 2.1 meters for exterior side yard setback for the existing dwelling for a setback of 3.9 meters, where 6 is required. To seek relief of 2.71 meters for exterior side yard setback for detached accessory building for a setback of 3.9 meters, where 6 meters is required. And to seek relief of 0.28 meters for rear yard setback for an existing accessory building, 1.2 meters is required. It would be deficient by 0.92 meters. In accordance with Section 41.5 of the Planning Act, sufficient information has been provided to determine that the requested relief be appropriate for the proposed development, is minor in nature, and maintains the official and general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. The site is generally flat. It is a corner lot containing a single detached dwelling and a detached garage. The surrounding area is residential with a mixture of housing types. The proposed application to correct the deficiencies of the retained lot in the R2 zone meets the 4 tests for a minor variance. Excuse me. Therefore, it is planning staff recommend approval of the minor variance application as well as the severance application. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the planner? Is there an applicant or agent? And just a note, we did get some correspondence on this file.
Through the chair, yes, the correspondence came very late this afternoon, approximately 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair. Mike Sullivan with Land Pro Planning, the planner for the applicant. We've read the report, and I want to publicly thank Mr. Mueller for calling me in advance to talk about a solution to this. That was very much appreciated. So we're supportive of staff's comments and recommendation. I have a few comments on the conditions, if I may.
Okay.
Much like Councillor Van Passen was discussing and others at the table have discussed, conditions 2, 3, 4, and 8 are at issue from my perspective. 2, 3, 4, and 8. And I'll go through them individually, if I may.
Yep, go ahead.
So one is the spatial separation calculation. There is no house on the proposed lot. There is nothing to calculate the spatial separation on, is the first matter. That's under the Ontario Building Code, which would be a separate matter. When my client who's sitting here in the gallery, when he is interested in building a house, he would then apply for a building permit, and spatial separation would be the issue. And I'm asking for all these conditions to be removed from the decision because I don't think they're appropriate, and they aren't achievable potentially within the 2-year timeline. Second one is a building department review fee of $155. If that's for the severance application, the variance application, I can understand that. But if it's related to a building permit, again, that's a separate matter at a future date, and my client would deal with it at that time. The fourth one, which has been discussed on previous applications, a letter from the building department confirming that spatial separation compliance has been completed. Again, this is a matter for the future. When a house will be built on the property, we can't provide a comment. We can't satisfy the building department at this point without a building permit application in hand. And the final one is number 8. There is no septic system to be evaluated at this point because there is no house proposed on the property. I have spoken with my client. He can confirm this, that his intention is to build a house within the 2-year timeline, but several things may change between now and then. He might not be able to find a buyer. There might be financial considerations, etc. I'm finding that 2, 3, 4, and 8 are simply impossible for him to confirm within the 2-year timeline. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Linda?
Just a question regarding condition number 8. This property is in an urban area. Would it not be connected to municipal water and sewer?
Through the chair, that's correct.
So there will be no septic system to evaluate, so I agree we remove number 8.
Anybody else? Any questions? Councillor Van Passen?
I had all those in my notes to bring up at some point. Again, at the building stage, exactly, that's when we need them. It's not, doesn't affect the planning issue. I don't know why they're getting included all of a sudden. So.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, thanks, Mike. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application or online? Seeing none, the wishes of the committee. Linda?
I'll move to approve with the removal of condition number 2, number 4, and number 8.
And, okay. Not 3? Okay. Seconder. Linda?
Sorry, just...
Lisa's seconding, and then we can discuss it.
Yeah. Just with regards to condition number 3, it's a building department fee that's established in the user fee bylaw, so I don't think we can remove that.
Okay. Sherry?
The fee is for the spatial separation review, so if that's not going to happen, the fee is not required.
Okay, then. I guess we'll remove condition number 3 as well.
Secretary Treasurer informs us the fee is to do with spatial
Thank
separation.
you, Sherry.
The mover is moving that 3 be included, correct? And the seconder is okay with that? She is, okay, thank you. Making a mess of this decision. Yeah, okay. All right, so is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application? I think I already asked that. No? All in favor? As amended. And that's carried. Okay, and you understand all that, right?
So did we approve both applications?
Oh, no, just the one so far. The other one doesn't have any conditions.
No.
So, file number ANPL 2025025 in the name of 2628469 Ontario Inc., which is the minor variance. Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to that application? No? Any questions of the committee to anybody? A mover and a seconder. Phil moves to, thank you. Seconded by Adam. The minor, application for minor variance meets the four tests of a minor variance of the Planning Act, and no public input was received, and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that's carried.
Public input was received.
Oh, yes, public input was received, I'm sorry. And it was to do with parking and a couple of other things that really are outside the realm of this committee, so.
Through the chair, if I may, the public input was received and pertaining to the severance application, not to the minor variance
okay.
application.
All right.
Because most of the correspondence in that email was about severing off the lot and not to do with the minor variance for the deficiencies.
Yes, you're correct. Okay, file number ANPL 2025051 in the name of Tim Guerrero. Close enough? Planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received for relief of provisions in the Central Business District Zone, CBD, in order to construct a storage shed having 0-meter side yard setback and rear yard setbacks. The application for minor variance meets the four tests of Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. The site contains a single detached dwelling with frontage on Eagle Street in Delhi. The surrounding uses are predominantly commercial and residential. The subject lands are bordered by 2 commercial properties and a parking lot to the rear. The property does not contain a garage, and therefore the applicant wishes to use the shed for storage purposes. The rear yard of the dwelling is very small, so the applicant chose to move it over as far as possible to maximize space and still have some rear yard space. The applicant conforms to all 4 tests, and therefore the planning staff recommends approval of the application. I'll now answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there an agent or applicant present? No? Is
I'm
there-
online.
Oh, go ahead.
Yes.
Anything to add?
None. Just a big thank you, and I'm available for any questions.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone present that wishes to speak to this application? Any questions of the applicant? No? The wishes of the committee are? Linda? Seconded by? Joe, thank you. File number AMPL 2025051, the application for a minor variance meets the 4 tests of the minor variance under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore has not been considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. File number ANPL 2025038, Johann, Eva, and Willie Wall. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to seek relief of 127.22 meters.
Approved. I didn't hear approved? Yeah. Well, because it's...
You'll have to mute yourself.
Oh.
Go ahead.
I'll just start again. An application has been received to seek relief of 127.22 meters square usable floor area to allow for access. For a residential accessory building with a floor area of where 200 meters is squared is allowed, and the applicant is seeking a total relief of 327.22 meters squared. This property is located in the agricultural zone. The site is generally flat. It contains a dwelling as well as several outbuildings. The property has a frontage of 165 feet, a depth of 528 feet, and an area of 0.89 hectares. The surrounding land uses are mostly agricultural and residential. The proposed application to permit the usable floor area of an accessory building in the agricultural zone meets the four tests of the Planning Act, and therefore, planning staff is recommending approval of the application. If there are any questions, I'll answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Is there an agent or applicant present?
Good evening, Norfolk staff.
Yes, good evening.
My name is Michelle Hammond. My name is Michelle Hammond. I am the applicant representing the property owners, and I'm here if anyone has any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the applicant, agent? No? Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? Hearing none, the wishes of the committee are, Lisa moves to approve. Seconded by Joe. Thank you. File number ANPL 2025-038, the application for minor variance meets the four tests of the minor variance under section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Yep, thank you. File number ANPL 2025-019, Cindy and John Blomer. And the planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received to permit relief to construct a deck and balcony in the hazard land zone. The subject lands are located on the north side of Hastings Drive, west of its intersection with Highway 59. The property is approximately 0.36 hectares with approximately 48 meters of frontage on Hastings Drive. The subject lands are occupied by a two-story dwelling and a shed. And the subject lands are designated and zoned as hazard lands. The subject application seeks to construct a deck and balcony on an existing dwelling. The proposed development is of a scale and type that is consistent with the Provincial Planning Statement 2024. This is a permitted use and is consistent with the policies of the official plan. The existing use is legally nonconforming to the policies of the hazard land zone. Development on the lot is contrary to the provision of the hazard land zone. However, in this case, the type of development is minor in nature and will not significantly impact the property or surrounding lands. Thus, it can be considered minor in nature and maintaining the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. The proposed application meets the four tests of a minor variance. Staff support this application and recommend that it be approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the committee? Is there an agent or applicant present?
Good evening. I'm John Bloomert, the owner. I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Any questions of the committee? No? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present online or in the house that wishes to speak to this application? No? And the committee's wishes are Lisa. Lisa moves to approve. Seconded by Joe. File number ANPL 2025-019, the application for a minor variance meets the four tests of the minor variance under section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All those in favor? And that's carried. And last but not least, ANPL 2025-095. Planner can give the report, please.
Thank you. Through the chair, an application has been received for relief of 3.0 meters for exterior side yard setback to allow for a total exterior side yard setback of 0.0 meters, relief of 15.24% for lot coverage for a total lot coverage of 30.24% in the resort residential zone. The application for minor variance does meet the four tests of section 45(1) of the Planning Act for a dwelling in the resort residential zone. The lands are mostly surrounded by residential properties and the shore of Lake Erie. The lot has a frontage of 12.1 meters, a depth of 49.83 meters and an area of 536.60 meters squared. The site contained a cottage which was destroyed by fire and subsequently demolished, as well as an existing detached garage which is still standing. The applicant wishes to rebuild the cottage. The application meets the 4 tests, and therefore the planning staff recommends approval of the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions of the committee? Councilor Van Passen.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Chairman. This lot has a bunch of other discrepancies, and I'm wondering why we're not dealing with all of them, like the lot size is not there, the frontage is not there, all of those things. Is it because the previous cottage was destroyed by fire and they're just rebuilding basically in the same footprint?
Through the chair to Councilor Van Passen, yes, they are going to basically be rebuilding it exactly the way it was, and these 2 minor variances, or the variances that were asked for tonight are for the new building, but it will basically be in the same footprint, yes.
Okay.
Well, and the exterior side yard, isn't 6 meters required on that?
Through the chair, I'm just going by what was given to me for these, and I will have to double check.
Again, I have no problem with any of these. I just want to make sure we don't end up with coming back 6 times like some other people had to in Turkey Point. And even on the interior side yard, on the drawings provided, there's a little bump out on the plans that wouldn't be within, like the rest of the house is 1.2 meters, which is the bare minimum. Just want to make sure we get it right. So I don't know if I don't think we want to guess on this, but I also don't want to hold it up. But those are just my questions, I guess.
Okay. Comment? No? Okay. Anybody else? And the applicant is here, and if you have anything to add, feel free. Just, you have to talk to the mic. You got to turn it on first. Button on the right. There you go.
Good evening, committee. Is that better? I'm Mike Travis, homeowner and applicant. Any questions at all?
You are building in the same footprint as you had before?
Exact same footprint.
Okay. All right.
With the same setbacks for the interior side yard. There was a clerical error on that for that 0.02 meters. It was listed as 2 different measurements on the architectural. I don't need that. We can waive it. And the measurements for that came from Scott for the planning.
Okay.
For that setback.
Okay. Any
And
questions?
that bump out on the other side for the 1.2 meters is a wood fireplace.
Okay. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present or online that wishes to speak to this application? No? The committee's wishes are? Phil? Phil moves to approve. Seconded by Lisa. File number ANPL 2025-095 in the name of Michael and Tracy Travis. The application for a minor variance meets the 4 tests of the minor variance under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. No public input was received and therefore is not being considered as part of this application. All in favor? And that's carried. And a motion to adjourn. Moved by Joe. Seconded by Councilor Berry. At 6:32.